Tjena, my patrons. So, this month's teaching video for the month of July is going to be on ritual, but not exactly ritual. What we like to call instead blót. Now, the word blót is believed to be translated more or less into blood or sacrifice. And some believe that it is specifically a blood sacrifice. However, what we are led to believe through archaeological remains and what we do know about this is it's more of an exchange, a relationship of giving and receiving. So a sacrifice is made to either a deity, the ancestors, or the others. And what we mean by the others are the unseen people or the unseen entities in our world. So back in pre-Christian Scandinavia, that would be the Jotun or the giants or the outsiders, because that's actually what the word Jotun is translated to in its root form, is outsiders or kind of others. It could be dwarves or elves. It could be the landvetir, the land spirits. It could be the animal spirits. So there's all these other unseen entities that, quite frankly, I never hear people talk about on the Clock app especially. Now, when we talk about making a sacrifice or a blót or doing a ritual, oftentimes we have it perceived in our mind the only thing that we can relate it to. And in the West, what I mean by the West in this case would be Western Europe all the way through the Americas. It's seen through the eyes of religion. So ritual would be specific steps that are needed to be taken in order to achieve the blót or the sacrifice. However, that's not really how it was done. As a matter of fact, Norse spirituality was a lot more willy-nilly or free and easy, free balling, than we care to admit or even really can comprehend or understand. While there are specific, sometimes, ritual specialists, say a vulva or someone who is a wise person, or even in the later years in Iceland, the Gothis or Gitya, those priests or priestesses, for lack, or shaman, lack of a better term, they were ritual specialists. They had a lot of experience connecting to these other beings and how to do blót with them. While there were specialists, really it was a personal thing. It was something that was every man, every woman in their heart could connect to. You did not need to go through a ritual specialist. You did not need to go through a ritual. And why I say it that way is because the very word ritual implies a set pattern. When something's ritualistic, there is a methodology, a way that things are done. And it's a little more loose than that. So I'm going to stick with the term blót instead of ritual. You can see that right up here, blót. So I've attached some things that I'm going to show you. I was looking for a video that I had done at Cauldron Fest Stephen, who is follower of Yggdrasil, in our Discord, and Jesse Verdeliger, who is also in our Discord. You may know them from the TikTok app. They did a ritual with me, and there was a couple others of you as well in there, who I'm not purposely trying to leave out whatsoever. I know Eden, you were there, and Solitary Pagan, you guys participated too. I can't find those videos since I went to a new phone. I lost a lot of things, so I'm sure they're somewhere. I do have a photograph that I'm going to include in this teaching video, which is a little blurry, but you can kind of see us, and we're actually in garb, in ritual garb, I guess, in front of a fire, because we did do that at Cauldron Fest, where I was a speaker. So it was really, really neat to be able to do a blót, or a ritual type of thing with other people. For the most part, pagans are solitary. The whole idea of kindreds and all that type of stuff is relatively newer, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's wonderful. But I would have to say probably most people are not part of such things, at least in Scandinavia. Now, it is more common in Iceland, and it is more common in the Americas. However, this is something that you can do by yourself. So, why would you want to perform a blót or do a ritual? As I said in the beginning, it's kind of an exchange, and you can see I'm purposely making the shape of Gebo here. Gebo meaning gift. It is a time when you're presenting a gift to God's ancestors or other beings in exchange for something else, possibly wisdom, possibly a favor, possibly protection. So I'm going to walk you through some of the videos that I took, giving some examples of things. And this video may not be exactly what you were thinking it was going to be, or maybe even hoping it was going to be, but it is the most authentic thing that I can give you, because the bottom line with Norse spirituality is that we're animists. And as animists, we have a worldview that spirits or spirit is in everything. And everything is part of us. And we're all a unit working together. That includes the gods. The gods are not so much above and beyond us, kind of as many world religions teach, but they are different than us. They have other abilities, other ways of being and existing. So, as I go and share with you through the clips that I've attached, hopefully it will answer a lot of your questions on how to go about a ritual or a blót or a sacrifice. Now, one of the things I'll say is, if you are planning on doing this for the first time, it's good to just maybe give and listen. You maybe haven't built up a relationship yet with ancestors, other spirit beings in nature, or gods, to be able to require something in return. And that's kind of, we look at that sort of as rude. So it's best to leave an offering, leave a sacrifice, and build a relationship a little bit first before we require asking for favors. That's just the way I was taught. So, that being said, I hope this helps. I hope this gives you some information. And if you have any other questions, please let me know. We can discuss it in the chat. That's what the Discord server is for, apart from all the other things. It's to discuss the materials that you are receiving through your Patreon. Okay, enjoy. So here is an example of me in some of my ritual garb. And this is the headdress and the garb that I wore for the event at Cauldron Fest. And here is us doing the ritual around the fire. Okay, so what I'm doing here is actually preparing myself to do a blot. Now, I'm inside just because most of my materials are in here. What I'm doing right there is making the sign of the Mjolnir, Thor's hammer. It is interesting because while I prepare myself, it kind of gives me a chance to meditate, to think about what I want to do, what I want to ask for, if I'm asking at all. And in the blot that I am doing, that I'm going to be doing, I'm not actually going to be asking for anything. It's just going to be an offering and of thanksgiving, getting to know a spirit. So you can see that I am lighting different things. I have cedar in there, juniper in there. I have some frankincense, different things that aid me. I'm making sure that my hands are cleansed and that I'm kind of clearing my mind. It's almost getting into a type of trance, and that is what walking around a fire does, drumming does. It sets you in a mindset that you are more able to receive, that you are more open to listening, because it isn't always about us asking, praying. It's about being centered and listening. Now, if, for example, you had to do a blot inside for whatever reason, weather, circumstances, you can see I have one of my vulva staffs there, wands, and I am banging it, tapping it on the ground, which I would do outside as well to kind of induce trance. Of course, I'm not doing it very long there because this is an example to give you a shortened idea just of the different things that are done. So if you have a staff of your own that you would like to use, or a wand, you certainly can incorporate it. So I actually was showing that, hey, you could do this inside if you had to, for whatever reason. Now I'm going to be drumming. I'm going to just use my sami drum and enter into that more sacred space that I want to present myself in, so that I'm listening, so that I'm observing, and I'm getting the most out of what I can from this blot. It is about taking the time, making the effort, and showing respect. And when we take the time to, some people ritually cleanse themselves, some people ritually dress themselves, depending on their belief system or their religion. It's about showing respect. Okay, now I'm preparing an offering. I'm taking some cream, some milk. I'm adding some, actually this is date syrup, but you can use honey. Honey and milk is a wonderful thing to give. I'm using date syrup because I thought that the tree that I would be talking to would actually prefer that being a palm tree. And here I am cutting up some of the wood and hair or grass that I received off of that very pine tree, which was unexpected. It happened to give it to me, which I was very pleased with. To me, it showed that it received my offering. But here I am kind of cutting that up and making an incense out of it. I took that and I ground it up with some frankincense, mix that all up, and I'm also going to use that and put that on a coal and burn that. Now, it's difficult in Florida because oftentimes we're under a flame watch where it gets dry, and it's not good to necessarily burn things outside, so I decided to burn that inside. Anyway, so I prepared those items in preparation for going and meeting the trees. Here is a juniper tree, juniper bush, and I went up and let it know that I was appreciative of it, thinking about it, and listening for a little while, listening to the birds around me, listening to the grass, listening to the air. Here I am taking my vulva staff and stabbing it into the ground. We do believe that these metal rods were purposely used to almost like a lightning rod to focus the energy as it penetrated the ground and was used in that way for magical purposes. Here I am in a little altar that I have outside, and I'm giving the blót, or the offering, as you can see, and then just simply listening. Of course, I stayed there longer than the video, and really tried to observe what was around me and see if there were any signs or any messages. But mostly, I wanted to just let them know, thank you. I don't know a ton about palm trees, and I wanted to give an offering to this palm tree. I've since found out a lot. They're extremely protective, and they're used in many cultures spiritually. So I'm thrilled at what I was able to learn. So yeah, here we are, and I hope that this helps. If you have any questions, just let me know. And remember to do what feels right to you. That is the beauty of Norse spirituality, is that it's extremely individualistic. Take care.